we'll open it up for questions for Kylan Wilborn.
How's camp been going?
Camp's been going pretty well, you know. We had a scrimmage the other day on Saturday, so everything's going pretty well. I think the team's really working hard, just trying to work on what Coach Tillman wants us to work on and trying to embrace the new culture. Where do you think the biggest area in terms of growth is for you? I have to say the weight room. Weight room for sure. Coach B's been doing a great job getting us ready for this season. Just everything from just the different programs to nutrition to the diet, all that stuff's really been really helpful.
What's it like being back now as a sophomore and being able to still play with Colin and Tony? It seems like you guys are prepped to have a pretty big year, huh?
That's the goal, but it's pretty good. You know, having those guys in the backfield or having them on your side is always a good thing. I feel bad for other teams that got to go against those guys, but they're all good players. We have a good core of guys coming back. Being a sophomore, I think, is like the game's kind of slower now. It's kind of a lot more easier, I would say. Not easier, but I would say a lot more. I feel a lot more mature in terms of the playbook and what we're trying to do.
What was the biggest thing that you learned from last year as a freshman?
Man, that was a big learning experience. I'd probably say, that's a difficult question. One thing I would say I'm trying to improve on is probably pass rush. So one thing I learned from last year was probably just working on fitting the run better.
Do you feel that that was something that, looking back on it, really had an impact on the season, that you guys were not able to get the pressure? Because it seemed like the secondary got a lot of interceptions, but they gave up a lot of yards maybe because they had to cover for a little longer than needed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely rough on the guys in the secondary when the guys up front aren't getting to the quarterback and getting in his face, you know. I feel bad for those guys because it makes me want to work harder because if I'm not doing my job, I'm really just making the job harder for them. So, you know, just...
What was it like going up against the offense in the scrimmage on Saturday?
It was good. It was a good look. It felt good to put some pads on and go out and hit people and have a little game day situation, so I felt pretty good.
Do you feel like you have an advantage on them right now? And so to say, just because they're still learning a new system?
Absolutely, you could say that because we're having our old defensive coordinator still with us. We're kind of in the same playbook. We're still adding new things and doing a lot of new stuff, but those guys have to make a bigger jump, I would say, than the defense.
What have you seen in Khalil?
Khalil?
Just how he's done against you guys.
He is what he is, man. He's a baller. He makes plays. He's running around, throwing the ball, doing what he does best, man. Making everyone's job on the defense a lot harder.
Coach Yates had mentioned the other day that maybe guys like yourself last year were kind of reacting to plays maybe more so than understanding them. Do you feel like that was the case at all last year and that you've kind of grown that area?
Absolutely. That's 100% true. Last year it was more of just, I know I have this assignment on this play, go out there and do it. This year it's kind of, I'm understanding why. Okay, the line's shifting this way, so-and-so's doing this, so-and-so's doing that, so I know why I need to do it. And it helps me a lot, especially when the offense comes on something we're maybe not prepared for.
Are you guys giving Khalil a hard time about all the extra attention?
Of course, have to. It's kind of funny just seeing his poster around and all that stuff, so we got to knock on him a couple times.
Anything you can share?
Man, I've been going against him since high school, so it's kind of funny watching him grow up to now seeing him on the big stage and all that, but we just knock on him a lot, especially that Sports Illustrated cover. That's pretty funny, man. we gotta do the little pose and all that. That's funny.
Did you hurt your shoulder in the Foster Farms Bowl?
I did.
Is that better now? Or
100%.
Absolutely. And does that last drive in the Foster Farms Bowl kind of stick with you guys? Is that kind of some motivation for you?
Absolutely. It's something I definitely think about a lot. Wasn't the way I wanted to end my season. Definitely definitely pushes me to work harder, especially in the weight room, like I said, with Coach B and the guys in the medical room, just to make sure that doesn't happen again. That's something that really drives me. Absolutely.
Is it nice that Yates is more focused on the front seven as opposed to the secondary, so he's kind of focused more on you guys?
Well, he's a defensive coordinator, so of course he shows flashes of where he's going to care about the secondary, but, you know, it's pretty great, I would say, to have a guy who's more focused on the front seven now that he's a linebacker coach and stuff like that. So it's pretty good to have him in the room, and especially with him being my position coach, it helps with him when he's showing me like why we're doing this and why. It's the whole concept of understanding the defense a lot better.
Sure.
What have you seen from the defensive line, and how is that going to make your job easier in terms of the more depth and weight that's been added on the front seven now?
Well, Debo's always been a baller. PJ. Coming in, he did some good things in the spring. We're expecting a lot from him this upcoming fall. guys like Lee Anderson and Jalen Harris and all those guys. They're really good too. Especially Mikey. I like Mikey. Mikey's we grew up pretty close together, so it's pretty cool getting to see him rise to this level as well.
I've been hearing folks say that the Heisman and other postseason awards are team awards. Do you guys feel like you share in that sort of thing?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
Sure, yeah. I've been hearing that the Heisman and other postseason awards, the Nagurski, whatever have you, Politnikoff, they're team awards, that they don't go to players on losing teams. Do you guys feel like you have a stake in anything that a player would get individually?
Well, of course, like any Heisman player, if there's a Heisman running back or whatever there is, there's always a good line that comes with it, or always good secondary players or whatever it is around them. So Khalil doing his job is just a testament, I would say, to what our offense did and stuff like that. So him going after that award just shows that he's going to have the skill to do it, but also everyone on the offense and the defense has to do their job to help him do what he needs to do.
What's that feel like to know that you might have a share in that level of attention?
Man, it's great. I think it's a lot of recognition for the program, a lot of good stuff, and it's kind of a good feeling to let everyone know Arizona's back on the map.
Does Khalil strike you as a guy who handles that pressure well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's just, what you see with Khalil is what you get. Like, he's literally, like, he's funny, dude. He's just a good person. That's who Khalil is, in my opinion. So everything you see is 100% what you get.
No, it's really rare to be around somebody that chill, right? Like, do you guys just try to get him off this square just to see if you can do it?
Well, I would say that would go with the jokes about Sports Illustrated, stuff like
Nice.
that. But other than that, he's just a good guy, I would say.
What is it about that post that you guys make fun of the most?
Oh, nothing. It's just funny, man.
Yeah.
It's just funny seeing your teammate that you go to meetings with, lift with, all that stuff, and then you just see him on a magazine one day. So it's pretty funny.